The Channel Island National Marine Sanctuary is comprised of protected areas with biological and ecological significance. Conservation is managed to ensure biodiversity of the natural habitats for plants and wildlife. Maritime history and Chumash tribal culture heritage is also preserved and shared with visitors. MPAs like this are substantial in fighting climate change, overfishing, pollution, and saving endangered species. NOAA and California Department of Fish and Wildlife work with research scientists, indigenous people, tourists, commercial fisheries, shipping fleets, and many environmental protection agencies and institutions to monitor and manage anthropogenic influence and ecosystem health. The Channel Islands are off the southern coast of the California Bight, and it provides over 1,400 square miles of protected ocean waters for wildlife. The islands include Anacapa Island, Santa Cruz Island, Santa Rosa Island, San Miguel Island, and Santa Barbara Island. The level of protection is different for each island, mostly being no take, which is, you can see in the red boxes, are the reserve no take zones. But some have just conservation zones where commercial and recreational fishing is still allowed seasonally. The level of protection is permanent and the constancy is year-round. The IUCN category is V for the sanctuary, but each island and different areas of each island have different categories. Category 5 means it is a protected landscape seascape. The emphasis in these areas is on maintaining or restoring traditional management practices along with the natural systems with which they coexist. The stakeholders involved for the Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuary are research scientists, the Chumash tribe, commercial fisheries, shipping industry, NOAA, and California Department of Fish and Wildlife. The Channel Island National Marine Sanctuary is a leader in research development for these baseline habitats and ecosystems, and will be helping the rest of the globe with doing this new research in the future. The Chumash tribe is the maritime culture of indigenous people that inhabited the California coast and the Channel Islands for thousands of years before European settlers arrived. One of their most distinctive characteristics is the long boats called tomals, which are made out of the redwoods that grow in California, and the boats can sometimes be up to 30 feet long. Every year, the Chumash journey together in their tomals and paddle the 23 miles from the coast to the Channel Islands in commemoration of their strong connection to the ocean. Commercial catches make quite a lot of economic sense in this area. In 2003, squid got the most value at 10 million. Kelp was close to 6 million. Sea urchins, 4 million. Spiny lobster, over 1 million. And so the commercial fishing industry also has quite a stake involved in these areas. Some of the issues with the fishing industry around marine protected areas is that some of the endangered marine mammals that we are trying to protect are still becoming entangled in their fishing gear And a lot of it is ghost gear that has been lost at sea, but is still catching fish and creating bycatch that is attacking some of our most important and endangered species of whale. The WWF in their article Action Needed to Protect Migrating Whales put an economic value with the International Monetary Fund that estimated the value of a single great whale at more than $2 million, which would total more than $1 trillion for the current global population of great whales. The whales are also considered to trap more carbon than thousands of trees, states the WWF. And so they are very important that we still protect them. Shipping vessels are also stakeholders in this location, and there is a voluntary vessel speed reduction zone to reduce impact of ship strikes on whales. The voluntary vessel speed reduction zone is 10 knots or less around the islands and in the Santa Barbara Channel. Global warming is affecting the islands still, even though they are protected from most anthropogenic forces. The rising sea temperatures are still being seen in this area, which causes other things to occur and changes metabolic processes and pathways in the food chain and the food web. Global warming and climate change also creates more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which is dissolved into the ocean. This creates ocean acidification, which demineralizes calcifying fauna. Here we can see the formula of having the extra carbon dioxide mixed with the water, which creates a dihydrogen carbonate. This in turn breaks down and releases more hydrogen ions, which lowers the pH, causing it to become acidic. This acidic quality makes it so that calcium and the carbonate cannot combine, which is needed to build the external shells of mollusks and bivalves, gastropods, shells of coral, exoskeletons of echinoderms, arthropods, barnacles, lobsters, internalized shells of cephalopods, gravity and acceleration sensing organs in otolith fishes. The recommendations are to keep continuing with the category 5 for the IUCN protection list, but also to expand some new areas of conservation to help mitigate issues with shipping vessel strikes of large marine mammals in the Santa Barbara Channel and also in the Santa Monica Basin, and these other surrounding basins, I believe, should also have more conservation networks so that the whole area that is now a refuge for many important species could still continue to be a refuge for the species that need these migratory pathways. The Channel Islands are very remote and give them this isolation that gives protection to help a lot of different species to recover from anthropogenic forces of the past and current. Here we can see a lot of the seals, California seals, elephant seals, that have found refuge here. And that's really important that these marine mammals have these places to rebuild their own networks of life and to flourish. There's a lot of threats from climate change, and we need to continue to study healthy ecosystems that are protected in these reserves to ensure that in the future these species can continue to exist. Some of the things that are also recommended for the fishing industry is to change some of their tactics, like their nets should become biodegradable materials such as made from hemp, that lobster and crab traps could be using the new pop-up buoy system where the buoy locator stays with the trap at the bottom until it is activated by sonar to be retrieved. All these changes can really help the system to stay in place. MPAs are essential to safeguard baseline habitat and ecosystems. Their role is pivotal for all wildlife conservation in its borders. The Channel Islands' natural beauty inspires every walk of life to be grateful for our amazing world and the processes of life found therein. The Channel Islands have kelp forests, coral gardens, tropical fish, migrating whales, sea turtles, shipwrecks for diving exploration, and amazing Chumash connections to its properties. In our ever-changing climate, we must do our best to protect biodiversity and educate at local and international levels. The first step is to treat these places as sacred. The second step is to educate and share these places with others. The best thing humans can do is to ensure natural and beautiful wild places for every generation to experience and enjoy.